time has come for the big reveal. I am revealing the top ranking decks from the Only 10 Mass Market VR videos. Yes, you heard that correctly. I tallied all of it. Well, almost. So I did watch 72 YouTube videos plus 4 Instagram accounts. So I was actually looking for tiebreaker. It wasn't a tiebreaker. It was just the first place was only in first place by 1 point. So I was kind of wanting to change that a little bit just to give myself a peace of mind to make sure I had the numbers right, or more right. But it didn't actually help me because the people who did mention the top 2 decks mentioned both decks. So the numbers actually stayed the same. So I did use 4 Instagram accounts. There was one Instagram account that I didn't use because the person, it was just kind of like a complicated post. I couldn't see the deck names, so I was like, I'm not spending too much time on this, blah, blah, blah. But I also want to throw in a disclaimer that I do have a sneaking suspicion that YouTube didn't present me with all of the videos. I tried all different ways to get all of them. I tried clicking on the hashtag, I tried searching by the hashtag, and just when I thought I had all of the videos, the next day I found 2 more that weren't in any of my search results. And I'm not even I can't remember how I found those 2. So it just kind of made me think that YouTube didn't give me everything, but I can only work with the information that's presented to me. So that's what I'm going with. So that's my disclaimer. It is entirely possible that I did not watch every single YouTube video. However, I watched every single YouTube video that I could find. So that's good enough for me. So we'll get into the why super quick. Cole's notes. I wanted inspiration for a new tarot deck. I figured the Only 10 Mass Market hashtag would be a good place to start to find something. And then I got like 2 or 3 videos in and I was like, it would be interesting to know which decks are the most popular. And then the Excel spreadsheet was born. So here we are. Housekeeping and some, criteria is the word I'm looking for, that I wanted to go over before I get into the numbers. I'm not doing this to you on purpose, I swear. So this is it's tarot and oracle. I did not separate the results. They are just ranked as they are numbered. So they are combined. There's no RWS, there's no Thoth, and there's no Lenormand. The RWS and the Thoth were freebies given to you in the hashtag, so I did not include any of them in these stats, even though like a lot of people use the vintage RWS, the Centennial, the Universal, didn't include any of those. No Thoth, and I didn't include any Lenormand just because there weren't really enough of them to make a difference in the stats, so I didn't include those either. I also did not allow any honorable mentions, so no honorable mentions are included, just your 10 picks. I didn't do any out of print decks because that was defeating the purpose of, like I said, looking for inspiration for a new deck. So any out of print decks are not in this list. I also didn't separate, if someone had a mini deck, I didn't separate the mini from the regular. It just went in under the name of the tarot. And if people combined decks, so a good example of this was Soul Cards 1 and Soul Cards 2. A lot of people combined them and they counted it as one. I gave each one a point. And if people cheated and they created a video for top 10 mass market tarot decks, and then they created another video for top 10 mass market oracle decks, I sadly made the decision not to include any of those videos. There were a couple of them, and initially I kind of thought, well, I'll just take the top 5 from each. And then I didn't want to do that because then you're excluding the other 5 in each category. And then I also thought, well, I'll just include all of it, but then that's 20 decks per person. So I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it. I'm just not including them. I stressed over it for a hot second and I was like, then okay, we're not doing it. You're stressing over it. It's not worth it. And there was one video that I came across where they put their own spin on it. So it was only 10 mass market decks with a twist. They wanted to kind of do their own thing. And I didn't include that one either, just because it didn't seem like it was like the other ones. I wanted to kind of keep everything the same with the same information. So I didn't include that one. So there were some that weren't included, and those that I didn't include are not included in the 72 that I watched. The 72 that I watched are just the ones that I took stats on. So like I said, 72 YouTube videos, 4 Instagram posts, and I have 249 decks in this spreadsheet. So, and that's not even all the decks I reviewed. It did get to a point where there was like the more obscure decks that I didn't even put in the spreadsheet because I knew they only had 1 or 2 mentions. So it's probably closer to like, I want to say 270, maybe 265. Without further ado, here they are. So I'm just going to start with the top deck and work my way down. So the most popular deck, I was going to do like a, let's count down from the 5 most no, I'm just going to start with the most popular deck and work my way down the list. The most popular deck, and it won by 1 vote. 1 vote, which is why I was so desperate to try and find some other accounts that maybe mentioned this one or mentioned the one in second place to try and give them more of a difference. I don't know. But the first deck is the Lightseers Tarot. And that was probably the one that you guys had mentioned the most on my Instagram reel. So a lot of you did get that one right. In second place, this one surprised me, is the Tarot of Mystical Moments. So I don't own this deck. It's never been one that spoke to me, but it clearly speaks to a lot of you. And what I found very interesting about this is that it was published in 2020 and Lightseers was published in 2019. Now Lightseers did have the indie version, so I feel like the Lightseers has had more time to pick up traction before the mass market version even came out, and the Tarot of Mystical Moments still only lost out by 1 point to Lightseers. So I thought that was really interesting. So good for you, Tarot of Mystical Moments. Number 3. So we have 3 tied in third place, and those 3 are the Deviant Moon Tarot, the Marielle, and Tarot of the Abyss. So the Tarot of the Abyss also kind of surprised me a little bit. And I think mostly because the Tarot of the Abyss isn't my aesthetic. It's never been on my radar. It's never been one that I've wanted. I've heard of it. But I think I kind of, when people start talking about it, I zone out because it's not something I'm interested in. So it really surprised me how popular it is when I saw it on this list in essentially third place. So fourth place is just one, and it's the Tarot of Vampires. Not really surprised by this one. It's really popular. It makes its rounds. The book is fantastic, so not really surprised. Fifth place is also just one, and it's the Druidcraft Tarot. Not surprised at all by this. Sixth place is a tie between 3, and it's the Anna Kay Tarot, the Everyday Witch Tarot, and the Herb Crafters Tarot. Not really surprised by all that. 7th place, Margaret Peterson, Nicoletta Ciccoli, and the Witch's Wisdom Tarot. So they all tied for 7th. So we need to talk about 8th place because there are 7 decks that all tied for 8th place. And I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I haven't mentioned an Oracle deck yet. And I do think that this tag was heavily tarot weighted heavily in tarot. But finally we have our first Oracle deck in 8th place. Where are we? We are in 8th place. So we do have our first Oracle deck in 8th place. First, I'll talk about the tarot decks since that's the vibe we're working with right now. So 8th place tarot decks are Forest of Enchantment Tarot, the Fountain Tarot, Golden Art Nouveau Tarot, Green Witch Tarot, the Hush Tarot, and Wildwood Tarot. So it's kind of weird because like the Wildwood Tarot I thought would be so much more popular, but when you think about the decks that are ahead of it, it's like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. The first Oracle deck on our list is actually the 20th tarot deck, or the 20th deck in our list. So the first 19 decks were all tarot decks, and we didn't get to Oracle until 20th place, and that is the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. Yay! Love it. So 9th place, we have 6 Decks tied for 9th place. There's one oracle in this pile too, so we'll go through the tarot first. So we have the Gaian Tarot, the Morgan Greer, Shadowland Tarot, Shadowscapes Tarot, and Tarot of the Divine. Then the second place oracle deck is the Woodland Wardens Oracle. Makes sense. It's pretty popular right now. Everyone is enjoying that one quite a bit. And in 10th place, we have 6 decks. Also one oracle in this stack, so we'll do the tarot first. Antique Anatomy, Dreaming Way Tarot, Medicine Woman Tarot, Star Tarot, and the Zombie Tarot. I kind of thought the Zombie Tarot would rank a little bit higher, but it's okay. Same with Antique Anatomy. I feel like I see that everywhere. So I was kind of surprised at how it had a total of 5 mentions that I came across. So, well, all of these, because they're tied for 10th place. So all of them had a total of 5 mentions. Now, the Oracle deck in this stack is the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud. This shocked me because I don't know anything about this oracle. Like, obviously a lot of people enjoy it because it's like the 3rd place for oracle decks, but I don't really know a lot about it. I mean, I know I've seen it. When I would see images of it, it's not like it was the first time I've seen it. But a lot of you really enjoy this deck. So that was a surprise. I don't know how I feel about it, to be honest. I'm not sure. It kind of like creeps me out, but in a very intriguing way. Like it was one of those things where like I would see someone flipping through and it would be like, oh, like I kind of like, I want to know more. So that was interesting. And now we're into 11th place. And the only reason I'm just going to kind of go over these really quickly because we already did the top 10, but there's some decks that I'm like, I don't know. And there's still a couple of Oracle decks in here too. So, Angels and Ancestors Oracle, that's in here. Here we have these are all tied for 11. Oh yeah, these are all tied for 11th place. There's actually a significant amount of these. There's 18 in 11th place, and they all have 4 votes. So the Angels and Ancestors Oracle, the Barbara Walker Tarot, Crow Tarot, Darkwood Tarot, Dreams of Gaia Tarot, Edmund Duloc, the Halloween Tarot, and we have another oracle, the Herbal Astrology Oracle, which it's fairly new as well. So kind of similar to the Tarot of Mystical Moments. It did well considering how new it is. The Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot, Mystical Medleys Tarot, Raven's Prophecy Tarot, and then we've got 2 more oracle. These are the last 2 oracle I'm going to mention. The Seasons of the Witch Yule Oracle, and then Soul Cards 2. Soul Cards 1 is somewhere on here. It's just not in 11th place. It seems like more people either use Soul Cards 2 or they just used only Soul Cards 2 for the video purposes, for the VR purposes. Then we have the Sun and Moon Tarot, Tarot de Luz, Tarot of Curious Creatures, and Tarot of the She, and then the Wild Unknown. The Wild Unknown is number 51. Stunned. Like, I know a lot of people don't really enjoy the Wild Unknown, but you always see it. It's everywhere. You see it everywhere. And so many people have that deck. So I was actually stunned to see it in 51st place on this list. Stunned. Anyway, that's that. That's what I did on Friday night. Now I'll kind of get into some discussions I wanted to have. It took, this is so embarrassing. It probably took me 7 hours to do all of this. Now, most of it I did on a Friday night because I had no plans. I literally started after dinner. It was like 6:30, and that's when I just nosedived down this rabbit hole. And then I did do some on Saturday, not too much. Saturday was more of like the trying to look for accounts or more VRs to get a bigger difference between Light Seers and Mystical Moments, which didn't work. But that's when I went into the Instagram accounts. I found those 2 other YouTube videos that I didn't have the day before. But I did have plans on Saturday and Sunday. I do want it noted that I didn't do nothing all weekend. I have a life. Saturday and Sunday were actually very busy for me. It was just Friday night. I had nothing to do. So I was like, yeah, why not? And yeah, I have to say, I was super nervous to post that Instagram reel saying that I did this because I half expected it to flop, and I thought people would think that there's something wrong with me, that I have some sort of OCD or neuroses of some sort, and I certainly don't have a life. But there were comments, like I think Thea said, not all heroes wear capes. There was someone else that said I was doing the Lord's work, which made me spit my coffee out. So it was really funny to see people's interest in it. And I have to thank you for that, because I honestly thought that some people would be like, so, like, what's your diagnosis and how long have you had it? Although I do enjoy a good Excel spreadsheet. Maybe that's my neuroses. But it was so much fun. And yeah, I wanted to do it for the only 10 decks, but no. Like, this was enough with 72 YouTube videos. This was enough. And I don't know. If there's other VRs that come up, I might. We'll see. Depends on my interest level. Did I find deck inspiration out of it? Not 100%. I am kind of thinking about the Bonefire Tarot. Kind of. I'm not 100% sold on it, and I'm at the point right now where if I'm not 100% sold on a deck, it's not going to be taking up space in my living area. So I'm not sure. There's definitely some indie decks I want to get, but I don't know, so much money. And the Bonefire Tarot is it's $46 Canadian on Amazon. So it's not cheapy either, but it's definitely cheaper than an indie deck. I don't know. We'll see. I've been kind of going through some walkthroughs over the last couple days on YouTube. I love that there's so much to look at, but I also don't love that there's so much to look at. Like, I don't know. I'm worried that I would flip over cards and be like, ugh, and not even want to look at them anymore because there's so much stuff. But then there's so much stuff. It's so interesting. I watched Lisa Pepez. She did a deep dive with it. And the things that she was pointing out, I was, So I don't know, is the answer to that question. But thank you for being super patient and not calling me out on my neuroses or my lack of activity on a Friday night. My lack of plans on a Friday night. But I was busy Saturday and Sunday, let's not forget. So that's it. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your week.